Hi, welcome to Ask Miss Mears, where we answer your most burning questions and solve your most nagging problems. I won't always know the answer, but I'll know someone who will. If there's anything the last year and a half has made us realize, it's that there are things or circumstances or people in our lives that we no longer need or want. But what's harder is actually to be brave and bold enough to dare to live the kind of life we do want. Even if time in lockdown seemed to go by so slowly, time actually flew by so fast. If we're not careful, we might just fall into the trap of living our lives on autopilot without direction or intention. We need the clarity, confidence, and courage to create the life that we want for ourselves. Here to help us make that happen is life and career coach and creator of the Sunday Night Journal, Aurora Mangubat Suarez. Hi, Awi.
Hi, Mirza. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back. So happy to have you on the show 1 year later.
Yeah, I guess it's been 1 year. So exactly what you were saying, that time seems so long, but it moved by so quickly.
Right. So it's mid year again, and it got me thinking that people are thinking after all this time, what am I doing with my life? And as I mentioned earlier, it's one thing to realize things, but to actively execute all your epiphanies into life changes takes so much work. So, why do we actually need to be intentional about deciding and determining what kind of life we want?
Yeah, I think intention is really a very powerful word. I was just listening to a video or an interview between Marie Forleo and Gary Zukav, and he was telling they were talking about intention, and he was saying that intention is the reason why you do things, and it's really that energy or power that infuses a word or an action. And I love that giving an action energy and giving an action, forward momentum. And I think because we can, what you said earlier, we can literally float through life and allow circumstances to dictate. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But then there are times when circumstances wake us up, and this can be like a personal crisis or a pandemic, where we actually sit down and question and think, is this really how I want to live my life? Is this like
Actually,
you suddenly wake up and say, okay, is this really what I want? Is this really how I see myself if I continue on this trajectory? Is this really still something I want for my life?
right. What are some of the obstacles that derail us from living the life we want? Or I don't want to say excuses, but some are excuses, some are what? Actual obstacles or fears or,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest is really fear because people always say like it's the devil, like you're in a job or a relationship, and
Right.
it's like, but how do I know that there's really something better for me, right? Ito alam ko na, right? And you know it, that the stress, the maybe the fact that there's you're not completely happy, but okay naman, like you're okay, and you so there's the fear that maybe this is it, that maybe
Right.
there's really nothing better out there, and so keeping yourself stuck. So I think whether it's fear of trying because you might fail, or it's fear of trying because, oh my gosh, what will people think, or it's fear of leaving something that you're comfortable with. It's okay, it's not the best, it's not what you dreamed of, but it's okay. And I think so for me everything really boils down to fear. So procrastination, perfectionism, staying stuck, that's all a fear-based response.
And would you say that this is why many settle? The
Yes.
fear debilitates them so much na, okay na siguro to? Should I
Right.
even dare want more? Ganun ba?
Right. Yeah. And again, sometimes you're not even aware. And again, if it's working for you, then it's okay. I think it's really when you suddenly wake up and you cannot unsee things anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of us really have been pre-programmed or conditioned to believe in an ideal setup, right? Ideal job, ideal home life, ideal health or love life based on timetables set by our parents or not just our baby boomer parents, but even I'm surprised that even the kids of Gen Xers have been conditioned to buy into this ideal. I'm shocked because yung mga anak ng mga ka-age ko, some of my followers tell me, bakit sabi ng mommy ko dapat by this age, may anak na ako, may asawa na ako, ganito dapat yung job ko. And I'm like, hanggang ngayon ba, ganun pa rin? So,
I
yun, parang
Here's
that's
wala
what
ng
happened.
Cosmo. Wala ng Cosmo. No one's telling them like there's another way to be. Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear that too, and for me, it's very surprising. Like they're saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm already 27, or I'm already 25,
Right,
and wala
right,
pa akong ganito." And I'm like, "You're only 27. You're only 25. You know,
right,
there's no need to." I guess that's the thing is that sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves based on an arbitrary timetable
right,
or an arbitrary idea that works for someone else but
right,
may not necessarily be your timetable or your path. And I think, you know, I think with every season of your life, it's really approaching it with curiosity. Like for me, that's really such a great word to have. It's like, why am I not married yet? Oh, okay lang, because you know, at least I can do all these things that all my married friends can't. And sometimes when I talk to my clients about it, I'll be like, but what are you doing now that your married friends aren't doing?
right,
You know, and they're like, oh yeah, I can do that. And oh yeah, you know, it's like really shifting a perspective
right.
and seeing things from different angles.
Right. So before you made a career out of helping others find their life vision, you had to find your own way towards finding it too. Tell us a little bit about how you took the leap from 16 years of corporate life to become a life coach to create the life you love.
Yeah, so about my gosh, 11 years ago, yeah, my life was actually really in shambles. From the outside, it looked really good, really glamorous. Lots of events, lots of parties. Remember what those were? Like they, like after 1.5 years of no parties or events. So yeah, so you know, from the outside, it looked really like, oh my gosh, she's living the dream. But what people really didn't know was that my marriage was in shambles, literally. My mom was sick with cancer. I We were practically homeless as well. I would go home from work, play for a little bit with my little daughter, collapse on the couch, and then be awake from 2 to 5. So my insomnia was so bad. And then, you know, I would just, the minute someone would sneeze, like from across the room, I'd get sick immediately. So basically, everything that was really saying, hey, something's not working. My body well, I was always getting sick, you know, so from my body, my there and everything that surrounded me was really signaling me that things are not working. So yeah, so that was
So
my big wake up call. Yeah.
it took being physically sick to wake you
It
up.
it was physically sick, my marriage, or
Oh, okay.
the
Right.
fact that it
All
wasn't
those.
existing anymore. Yeah, and then my mom getting sick. So all those things. So this is like, I think for me it felt like bigger than the pandemic.
Oh my
Like it
gosh, I'm
was,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So all of that put together, like all of put together, like was just like okay. And oh, but I didn't tell you, my daughter. I had just given birth 6 months before that, so
Oh my
it was
gosh,
just
that's
like
right.
yeah. So all
I
the changes in my
remember.
life, yeah. So
Right.
yeah, so there. So I was just like, okay, you know what? There's something not going right. Like I thought that by following the rules, by being a good girl, by being a good employee, being a good mom, being, just following all the rules. Like I would get the perfect life, and it
Right.
didn't. And yeah, and I think the most important thing was I asked for help. So I worked with a counselor for years. So again, so people were like, ha, years ba talaga? Years, guys. So crafting or creating a life you love is not the work of, it's not overnight work. It is the
Right.
work of years. And
Right.
so yeah, so first I had to work on healing, and I think that was the number one thing. And then from there we can yeah, then I identified what did I no longer need in my life.
Right.
So that's so that for me, so when you start with your own process of starting of crafting the life you love, let's start with the easy things. And the easy thing is usually, and what don't I want na ba? What do I no
Right.
longer need? Yeah. So and
Right.
again, this can be things, this can be people, this can be habits, this can be even thoughts, limiting beliefs, as they
Right.
call it. Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with, hang on. There. Number
Yep.
one, identify what you don't want or need in your life anymore. And you say it could be things. During the pandemic, a lot of people got rid of their high heels and their long
Right.
johns.
Makeup, lipstick. Well, you didn't. Yeah.
Oh, you said
Yes.
people. So I guess people you don't really. Uh,
Connect, resonate with. You're not vibrating on the same frequency anymore.
right,
Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
habits. What are some
Habits.
examples of habits?
Habits. Maybe it's like, again, this is the thing, is I don't want to say, oh, like waking up late, because some people really work
Right,
differently. So really habits that I guess no longer serve you. Like,
right,
is this habit moving me forward towards the life, the person I want to become, or is this habit, um, making me, keeping me stuck where I am? So I
right,
don't really want to say like, oh yeah, it's wake up early, it's drinking more water. I mean, again, it you will know what
right.
habits to give up and what habits to. I mean, we all know what good habits are. So find the ones that work for you.
I think collectively on a global consciousness, some of the things that are parang coming to the fore are setting, being emboldened to set work-life boundaries, right? Like now, parang people are being encouraged to speak up and say, no, I cannot work for 20 hours. And parang people are actually being encouraged to tell their employers, I will die if I work all night and all day long. Mga ganyan, di ba?
Yeah,
So maybe overwork is something that people are
yeah.
deciding they don't need in their life anymore. What are the other things that maybe your clients are deciding to do without?
Yes, I think number one, overwork is a big thing. It's really what, and maybe not just overwork, maybe it's even what is meaningful work for me.
Right,
Like what would be
right,
meaningful, like meaningful work, not necessarily dream work, because I think what happened is parang when you put the word dream on anything, you put so much expectations and too much pressure on that thing
right,
to make you happy, to make your life complete, when nothing can really, you're the only one who can make your life complete. So yeah, so definitely there, overwork, putting boundaries around people, like I don't like, I hate the word toxic because I feel like parang I find it overused. It has overused as authenticity. And so
and
so
journey.
parang for me, yeah. So parang for me it's really putting boundaries on people who don't lift you up, who don't inspire you, who don't make you better. Because some people can challenge you and make you better, even if they're not nice,
Right,
but that doesn't mean that someone who is toxic. It
right,
could be someone who's really just you're like, oh my gosh, this person is challenging me, it's stretching me,
Right.
and that, yeah, and so there. So what else? I think health, definitely, mental health and physical health. Really knowing that in a pandemic that you have to take care of yourself. And I think what's beautiful is that it's not just, we used to be so focused on bikini ready bodies and
Yeah. Hindi na
like all
yun.
that, all like parang like looking good, like being healthy because we wanted to look good. But I think what's so
Yes.
beautiful is the whole idea of mental health and emotional health, that
Yeah.
it's really what's inside that reflects, like that makes you look good, not the fact that you have like the six pack abs or whatever it was.
Yeah. I am
Yeah.
guilty of writing cover lines that contain the word bikini body.
I'm
Whereas
guilty of
now,
publishing magazines that
whereas
has
now
cover
every
line.
body is a bikini body.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
so
And
yeah, so
then
those are the amazing things that people are, I think, boundaries, really really setting healthy boundaries and saying that doesn't serve me, this serves me, that's not what I want, this is what I want. And
but I
that
like the
really
way,
comes, yeah,
go ahead.
sorry, go on.
And that really,
I
sorry,
think
and
it
that
comes from self-knowledge and self-awareness.
very important. I like the way you clarified that people you may not necessarily like can also challenge you and help you grow. Because I think Filipinos have the tendency to just stick to the people that they like in their own little bubble, and sometimes they don't grow. So like, dito na lang tayo sa mga ka-vibes natin. But minsan walang growth, di ba?
Yeah,
And then you
yeah,
don't
and
realize na baka may matutunan tayo dun sa mga hindi natin
right.
masyadong.
No, and I think that's always what I say, is that really be careful about labeling people as toxic, because people come into your life, really, I mean, it sounds like the corniest thing, but they really come into your life not to ruin your fun. They're not there to say, "Oh, tama ng fun." No, I'm here to make your life miserable. No, they're really there to help you grow and evolve. And and this person, it's really seeing them na, oh my gosh, what is this person either mirroring something in me that needs love and acceptance, or needs me to realize about myself so that I can go. So it could even be, oh, I need to speak up for my boundaries and say, no, that's not right. Like maybe this person has to keep coming up and for you to say, no, I don't want that. That's not right. I'm uncomfortable. So those things.
No, Miss Mears, ayoko na mag-OT.
Correct.
Number two, this is the hard part. Get clear about what
Yeah.
you do
Oh my
want.
gosh. Yeah, this is
How
always the
hard
hardest.
how hard is this, and how can it be less hard?
Yeah, this is always the hardest. Sometimes when I go and my client coaching calls, I'm like, so what do you want? And they're like, I don't know, but it's not this. It's something else, but it's not this. So what I like to use, there's a coaching tool called the Wheel of Life. So you can Google that. So it's a common coaching tool where you look at the different areas of your life. So you have work, money, love, romance, health,
Home.
home, yeah, happy home, family, spirituality, friends, community, and fun and creativity. So you can Google this tool. Yeah, and then what happens is you rank your level of satisfaction on this from 1 to 10. So I usually color it in para fun. And then from there, so that this is again a common tool. My newsletter subscribers get accesses. I created a little worksheet that's exclusive for them in like a private space on my work in my website. And then I also asked, like, if health were a 10, what would it look like? If love and romance were a 10, what would it look like? If if money were a 10, what would it look like? So that's one way of getting clear. Like, what was a 10 out of 10 life look for you?
Right.
So that's one way. So there are two ways. So number one is you already know what you don't want. So you can go to the opposite of that. Okay, if I don't want a cluttered house, okay, then I want a minimalist house is maybe the thing,
Right.
or I don't want an unhappy house. I want a happy home, and then digging deep. What does a minimalist house mean? What does a
Right.
happy home mean? What does
Right.
a 10 out of 10 money mean? Because sometimes you will be like, oh, I want 1,000,000 pesos. And it's
Right.
like, really? Is that really what or do you just want, you know, maybe you want 10 million? Maybe it's not even a million. Maybe you want 10. Maybe you want 100 million. So it's that. It's digging deep. And this tool is an easy way to do that.
And how specific do you have to get? Or how big can you dream? Like, ano yung unrealistic or realistic? Like, when we look through Instagram, parang the lives of the rich and famous are so, di ba? Parang, kaya ko ba yun? Or do I dare dream that big? Or should I? Or not?
I I love big dreams. I honestly really love big dreams. And you'll be amazed at, some of these people really like started with like nothing and just, when they declared it and they said, I really want this. And again, having that would be our fourth step, but having that intention of why you want it. Because it could be, again, from that fear-based intention. Na I want it para to show the world na I've made it,
Right.
or I want it because this will allow me to to give back to the world, or to grow, let's say, more entrepreneurs, or to support more women, to live their dreams, so it goes back to that, because it could really be, no, I want this kasi para si neighbor ganito, or si office mean girl in high school. Then maybe the intention is not, then the power dissipates for
Right.
that big dream. Yeah.
Right. So number three is, does this mean visualizing?
This can
Consider
mean
your future self.
visualizing. Yeah, this can mean visualizing. So that is another fun tool. Really is creating a vision board. I've done it, and again, dreams that I never thought would happen actually happened.
Like
So
what?
so that I think that, yeah, I mean, really, like, being an entrepreneur. Like, I've always wanted that. Having my own book. So I mean, now I have my Sunday night journal, my good job journal. I mean,
Yes.
like
Congrats.
all of that, like I miss, like, no, I'm just a publisher. I publish other people's books, like, and it's not for me. Or, oh no, I'm gonna be an employee forever. I don't even know what kind of business to run. Like, but I put it, like, I dreamt, no, I want my own. I had no clue when I made my vision board. Yeah, but consider your future self is, for me, it's really thinking, what would my future self be grateful to me for starting today?
Right.
It could be as simple as starting a 5-minute exercise routine because your
Right.
future self is traveling through Europe healthily, like at 60, without, like, not in a wheelchair, not like the wheelchair people in the airport, but like walking, and keeping up with everyone. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, so I love this idea of your future self. And yeah, and really, thinking about because I
Can you
think,
give some?
one
Sorry.
powerful, yeah, if
Ooh,
I can share something with my, like
some
what I did
some of
when.
the uh, visions of some of your clients that came true, if it's okay to share.
Well, I'll share one because she shared it. So she attended my best year ever workshop, and she really wrote to her future self. Like, she wrote, in my workshop, we write a letter to our future self, and she she wrote to me and said everything that I wrote to her came true. Like
Wow.
everything. So she left her corporate job. She's now running a plant-based coaching business where she teaches people where she coaches people on adopting a plant-based diet. And so like really, like she was high flying banker, corporate career, and now like just changed everything. And she's just like, oh my gosh, this is like, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. So that for me was an amazing story.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really inspiring.
Yeah, and I think even for me personally, I remember like when I was started my coaching career, I would always say, oh my gosh, I think, I think I have a plan B. I think I better, maybe I will always have a plan B, and the plan B is going back to corporate. I will always find a job. And my coach, because I do have a coach, she said, what if you don't have a plan B? And I said, oh my gosh, yeah. And she said, what would it look like if you gave everything a hundred
Right,
percent to plan A? There's
right.
no plan B. And I said, oh my gosh. And I said, oh my gosh, my future self is nodding here because I realized that if I went back to corporate, in a few months I would have left. And then I would have started, back again where I was instead of using the 6 months, it would have that, that to build my business. And that I felt was like my future self guiding me and saying, no, stick to the path, stick to the path. Trust yourself, trust the path.
And that's the scariest part, I think, about taking the leap, right? You need the plan B or a crutch because of the fear. Like I was talking about it today with my husband, Andre, and then he said, the fear of being poor. Like when I
Yeah,
said, what prevents
absolutely.
you from following your dreams? The fear of being poor. And that's a very real fear because
It is.
how do you know if it will work out if chuck everything and become an artist or really like do what you love? What's
I
your
think there's
advice about that for everybody who's afraid?
Yeah, I think there's really no guarantees. I mean, we've seen there's really no guarantees, and I wish I could say that, oh, if you follow your dreams, for sure your dream will happen. Because we've seen that sometimes it really doesn't. But I think number one is create a safe landing space for yourself. Like meaning before you start, create a safe landing space, and so that that fear of being poor does not again part of the intention, because when you follow your dreams is that you're doing it out of love. But when the fear is there of being poor, then that desperation, people will feel it, the people will feel the fear, and then thus, and you're like, why are they not resonating with me? Because you're like, because sign up, come on, buy my thing, so so I think it's really create a safe landing space for you. I don't know what that safety looks like. So that could be, I guess, having savings, maybe having a conversation with your partner, your husband, your wife, saying, you know what, I'm gonna go after my dreams. Can maybe we can live on your income first, and getting
Right.
their support, like it's a your partnership, and then or maybe having a side hustle that's not quite your dream but gives you time to work on your dream.
Right.
So like that, I think that's, for me it's really create a safe landing space, so that again it comes from in a pure intention of of love, of serving people, of wanting to give, rather than, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be poor, wala kaming kakainin.
Bilhin mo na, please.
Exactly. Right,
So you need
yeah.
to prepare. It's not like instant. You need to have an action plan, which we will tackle later. But first,
Right.
be sure you have a powerful and aligned intention. Please
Right,
explain.
right. Yeah, so again, an intention is really the reason for doing why the reason why you're doing what you're doing. So my and and it's really a very powerful force that will dictate how the actions you want to take moving forward. So my intention for 2021 is do what is loving.
Do
And
what
so
is
that
what? Sorry.
loving,
Do
do what is
loving. Do what
loving.
is
Yeah.
loving.
So I think for me, what was quite wild last year, my intention was joyful trust. And I did not realize how much I had to lean into that intention in a time of pandemic, where, suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, can I still trust this path? Can I still trust na, oh my gosh, parang, gonna, like, yes. So for me that was really that I really had to lean very hard on that intention, and it worked out, because of joyful trust. I am joyfully still here. Yeah, so this year it's do what is loving. So really me checking in, is this a loving act? Is this something I would love to do? Is
Right.
this something that and if it's not, no, it's okay, pass. Yeah.
How exactly did you apply joyful trust in concrete ways?
Okay, how did I apply? Well, yeah, so at a certain point, I think at the start of the pandemic, I knew that I was, well, first, before the pandemic started, I was getting a bit burnt out with coaching because you do absorb a lot of energies,
Right, right.
as you coach. And then the pandemic happened. And then I created programs to help people, like hold space for them to deal with, the whatever emotions are coming up with the pandemic. And then at a certain point, I shut down my coaching doors for a month because I
Wow.
said, I will trust that my clients will come back. I will trust myself that this is the right thing for me, because I am not serving from that space of of love and service, and and wanting to help them, because I was so also dealing with my own personal emotions about the pandemic, with my own fears and anxieties, and really just trusting that when I would come back, clients would come, and I would have work, and I did. So I got a corporate client last year, and wow, that really, like, so, oh my gosh, I was coaching for so many hours, and it was awesome because I was helping people who were let go from their jobs, and really giving them concrete action plans on how to, find a new job, practice interview skills, work on the resume. Like, it's really amazing. So yeah, so that was a very concrete way of how I practiced joyful, my intention last year. Who would have thought? And I started in 2020. Now, oh my God, it's 2020. It's a new decade.
But then that seems to be like an advanced kind of intention for a newbie who is trying to even just consider creating a life that she loves. What would be an example of a powerful and aligned intention?
I think you can start with, I want to love myself more.
Wow, yes, that's quite
Yeah. I
fundamental, right?
yeah, or I want to take care of myself more.
Right,
Like I want to, and actions you can take from that would be, stop criticizing yourself, speak kindly, be gentle with yourself, have patience with yourself. Yeah, and don't be so giggle, yeah, with yourself. I think
right,
or even really, every day I want to do something I love.
right,
In
right.
fact, it's funny, for so many of my clients, this period that I've been coaching, I'm always giving them the homework of, can you do something fun? Because I
Okay.
think, yeah,
Motivation.
because parang nalimutan ng fun. Because parang
Right.
people think of fun as leaving the house. But I'm like, no, maybe think that, oh, how can I still have fun? That's not just Netflix or
Right.
shopping or
Right.
seven
Right.
seven sale.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Or some people might say it's selfish, right?
right.
How dare I even consider creating a life I love when I'm the breadwinner or I have children or baka aspiration lang yan ng mayaman who can afford to create the life they love. What do you have to say to all these like voices in our heads which might say those are very selfish things to even consider?
Well, I think number one, it's love, right? I mean, love, by its very definition, is really should not be selfish, and it's so if you're doing it again from that intention of that, I'm doing this because I have nothing else to give. I have nothing anymore to give, or I'm giving na, and when I give it, I'm nagdadabog na, or
Right.
I'm naiinis na, and so you're not giving anymore from love. You're giving na,
Right.
and people can feel that. Your children will feel that. Your
Right.
children will really, really feel that. I think we all know na parang ay galit. Yun parang, and if you're already feeling that then it is not selfish to maybe just take, and again, this is not like a retreat na parang 1 month wala ako. I mean, I was able to take it, and again, joyful trust, guys, kasi walang income for a month. So, um, but it was really just to just say, I'll take 30 minutes lang for myself, just so I can, just maybe relax, fill myself up again. So when I meet you guys, when I meet my children, when I meet my office mates, I'm sharing loving and positive energy, hindi yung, hi, ano ba, I'm just mad all the time. Parang no
Right.
one wants to be around someone who's just mad. Like
Right.
maybe you label other people toxic. Maybe you have become
Right.
toxic. Yeah, and you don't realize that parang, oh my gosh, ganyan na pala ako. And maybe it's
Right.
time to step back and say, hey, maybe I can be kinder to myself because I can't even be kind to others na.
Right. So when we are masungit, it is actually a symptom that we are
Yeah,
not being kind to ourselves. And maybe the
right.
well is empty
Yeah,
and we need to refill.
yes.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think sungit is really a big, baka kulang ng sleep. And maybe it's that. Maybe
Right.
a loving act is just taking 20 minutes and taking a nap.
Right.
You don't need 3 hours, guys. Really, you don't. It's really 20 minutes. You're refreshed. My brother, who's a doctor, like sometimes in pre-pandemic, they would come to the house, take a nap for 20 minutes, and he's like, okay, back, alert. So parang it was like he doesn't need like 24 hours to catch up on the sleep. Although that's ideal.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate between needing an overhaul of your life, or are you just lacking sleep? Are you just annoyed with your boss? Or how can you discern kung do I need a career and life overhaul, or am I just annoyed with the pandemic or my boss, or yun nga, kulang sa tulog?
um, I think listen to your intuition, and I know again that's something really harder to do, especially because we're so used to listening to everyone else except for us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Daming ano.
yeah. So for me, it's really quieting down, and that's why I like journaling and I like meditation, because when you journal and it keeps coming up, maybe it's really time to listen. Na parang years na akong annoyed at my boss. Yun parang no matter what, like he or she is doing, parang like you fix this, you overhaul this na, you got na a new responsibility, yung parang naayos na lahat, like everything, pero hindi pa rin, like it's not yet working.
Right.
Then maybe it's really time, okay, parang I've done everything na, maybe it's time to do something, like to just change it.
Right.
Or
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 siguro
maybe
yung iba nakailang vacation na. Pero
yes.
pagbalik, ganun pa rin.
Right, exactly. So I think really journaling for me is really powerful. Meditation, because that allows you to quiet down, and kind of listen to like some intuitive nudges. Yeah, even some people believe in it. I go like tarot. There's also tarot, because sometimes the tarot will just tell you what you already know. Yun parang it just confirms. It doesn't naman tell the future. It just confirms what you already know inside. And from there, maybe that confirmation will give you the courage to say, tama na. Or, but the flip side of that is, baka naman you haven't tried it all yet. Maybe you can have that difficult conversation with the boss pa. Maybe you can
Right,
say,
right.
boss, hindi, I cannot do na 20 hours a day of working. Baka naman, or boss, baka naman, I haven't taken a leave. I know I'm just at home, pero, maybe I can go and leave. Na 1 week, I will not answer email, or 1 month, kasi I haven't taken a leave in 15 months. So, like maybe it's even that small thing, or maybe it's I'll just sleep tonight. Hindi ako mag-Instagram before
Right,
bed. So
right.
trying the small things first, and
Right,
then seeing maybe other. Then if you've done everything you could, maybe it's a
right.
big life change that's being
Right. Don't
called.
be afraid. Miss Mears, wag mo naman ako i-text ng 6 a.m. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry sa lahat ng mga tinext ko ng 6 a.m. Listen na po. Okay, here's the hard one. Take action that moves you towards a life you love. It's the actual
Yeah.
work.
Yes, I think, yeah, so it's so nice to like have all our vision boards. It's so nice to fill up the worksheets. Those are wonderful. Nice to write the letters. But I think the more important piece is really the actions that you take. And for me, when you take the action, it's this aligned with my intention. It's this aligned with I want to love myself more, or I want to be more creative. I want to be, tap into my, like, honor my creativity. I want to live in integrity. Like, is this action aligned towards that, or and is this action aligned with your future self? Like, is it, is it? Am I heading in the direction of the life I love?
Right. So what are like specific action points or action steps that one could take?
Right. So, for example, maybe it's if you identify that this is my 10 out of 10 life. Let's say my 10 out of 10 life for a happy home would be, for example, making sure that, like minimizing clutter. Parang I want na that my home is a place where we can breathe, and, so maybe decluttering. Decluttering is a powerful powerful thing, or maybe a simple action is, okay, I'm gonna have the courage to talk to my boss. Miss Mears, please, wag mo na akong i-text ng 6 a.m. Natutulog pa ako, or I don't want that the first thing I see in my phone is a text from you. I mean, parang, Miss Mears, pwedeng 10 o'clock na, or 9 o'clock na lang pag office hours. Or just say that, really, I am gonna log off at this time at 7, and I will not check my email
Right.
until 8 a.m. And
Right.
that is a hard boundary I'm putting in the sand.
Right. I think it's a love life. Something that I realized looking back is I was not intentional about what I did not want, like what were my non-negotiables,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
I just fell into my love lives on autopilot, and then I did not have boundaries because I did not intentionally say ayoko ng ganito, ayoko ng ganito, ayoko ng ganito. So, do you have advice about being
No, love
proactive?
life. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think, yeah, when we from, yeah, it's really, what are your deal breakers? Like,
Right.
what would be red flags? Like, is this man, um is he act with integrity when he says he's gonna do this? Does he actually do what he
Right.
says? Or does he treat you with respect? I mean, just maybe have, people always have their list of, like, oh, my ideal man, and
Right.
maybe really saying, because, okay, this is really my line in the sand. Like,
Right.
if you cross this, then that's, and of course, there's forgiveness. People can change, so have that grace also. But kung repeated na, parang, ay, sige, no, no, no. So you set boundaries at work, set boundaries also for your love life.
Relationship.
Yeah, or maybe even like a loving act is, okay, I'm gonna have the courage to set up a dating profile. Like,
Right.
like, take
Proactive.
take my, like, the shot for my dating app profile. Have my shots taken, and invest in that, because my love life is as important to me as my work. And at my work, I'm buying expensive shoes, expensive bags, expensive jackets, to look good. So I'm gonna buy, and then, I'm gonna blow dry, and, just really make the same investment in my love life.
Right. Right. And don't like maybe ngayon pang pandemic, you're never out, so nobody will ever find you unless
Right.
you put yourself
Pero
out
pwede, pero pwede pa rin. I mean, you can still, like,
online.
you can still do it online. I've had clients who has found love in a hopeless time.
And maybe don't be bothered by people say, "Wag ka na kasing choosy." I mean, there's a difference between choosy and what's on the opposite spectrum.
Yeah, just
Discerning.
yeah, yeah. I think, you know what? I think, be choosy. You
Oh
are
yeah.
choosy
Okay.
about what you put in your body. You are
Right.
choosy about the clothes you wear, and you're not going to
Right.
be choosy about a man. Be choosy, guys. You deserve it. Yeah, you have to be choosy, because
Right.
parang you are choosy about what, come on, people, you are choosy about what you put on your Instagram feed. Yan palang, choosy na kayo. So imagine that, how can you not be choosy with a person you're gonna spend the rest of
You're
your
gonna
life
spend
with?
the rest of your life with. Right. So, any other tips or advice about creating the love? Let us just run through the steps again. Number one, identify what you don't want or need in your life anymore. Does it help to write it down, or that's a must to write it
Yeah,
down?
yeah. It
What
helps.
does
It really helps.
writing down do versus just thinking about it in your head?
There's a book called Write It Down, Make It Happen.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
very old book, and I think writing it down, because, again, we're visual. So parang when you write it down, you use your body, because you're actually writing. Then you're seeing it. So basically, it engages more of the senses. And parang it by doing that, parang it gets into your system more.
There's a
There's
kinetic transfer of
Yeah,
energy to
there
the
is.
paper or
From
the
the
ebook.
paper to you, and back and
Get
forth.
clear about what you do want.
Yep.
Specify, right?
Yeah.
Use
People.
the wheel of life.
Yes, if you can. Yes, if you want
Consider
to.
consider your future self. Visualize every aspect. Set a powerful and aligned intention coming from a good place and not from
Your
from
place.
a negative. I'll show
or
them place.
or a fear-based place.
Or a
Yeah.
fear-based place, and take action that moves you towards a life that you love.
I think for
Good.
me, maybe two final tips is really, have courage. Of course, so easy to say, right? But
Yeah.
really, I think it's really, I guess having that vision talaga, parang that will really drive you. So parang have courage. This is the life I want, and 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 again, you can take detours and just have courage. I know it's hard. I know that's the hard thing, but and if you had more time, I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to have courage. But really, it's really have courage and being led by that vision of the life that you love, of
Right.
your future self. So
Right.
so if that's what you want, then have courage that I will go there. I can end up there. And I think what's so beautiful is we've seen people start really from nothing and build. So parang I wish yun parang you can. So there's that part that some people nga don't get to what they end up with, but some people have built like amazing businesses, have built amazing things out of nothing, not with
Right.
no connections, with no money, with very little money, with very little resources, with so much fear, so they have done it, and that is really a lot of courage.
So you can
and
get
and
courage by being inspired by what others have done. And
you
where
can
did you get your own courage?
I think number one is it was that, and not by others, but more of parang that idea of my future self. That parang I want to go there. That's what I want for my life. The second one is my one of my favorite questions that I ask my clients is: Imagine you're 80. What would you most regret not doing? So my
Right.
courage comes from me being in my deathbed and saying, "Man, I wish I had done that. I was already, I was already given the opportunity at that time, but I was too scared." And now at 80, parang I don't want to say fear, yun lang, fear lang. Fear lang stopped you. Parang fear is like nothing. It's nothing. It just
Right.
exists in your head. It's not a real entity. It's not gonna kill you. So
Right.
parang I think that was one. And number three, it was, well, I went through the worst and survived. So so what's I did it nice. Parang
Right.
I survived that. So parang
What more do you have to fear?
yeah, exactly. So I think for me it's really that na parang fear is to be avoid it is fear is not gonna kill you. What other people say about you, it's not gonna kill you.
Right.
Failure, it's not gonna kill you. It really will
Right.
not. Yeah.
And I
It
think the
won't.
pandemic has taught us that we could really die anytime. We don't need to imagine that we're 80. And if
Exactly.
we die next year or
Or
tomorrow,
tomorrow. Yeah.
sayang naman, di ba?
Yeah, no, I think that is it. I think we've lost so many people in the pandemic. I mean, literally, we've all lost friends or
Right.
family members, and it's like, man, if I knew that I would have, like if I knew that I wouldn't be seeing this birthday this year, parang I wouldn't even be seeing Christmas 2021. I would have done this. Parang
Right.
then if
Right.
it's really just fear keeping you back,
Right.
guys, fear is nothing. It's it's a non-entity. I think you would be more
Right.
inspired. And I think one more thing, my coach, and I love bringing this. My coach always uh, asked me before. She said, "Would you rather give your energy and attention to fear, or would you rather give it to love and creativity?" Because it's the
Great.
same effort, guys, same. It's the same amount of energy and attention. You
Right.
can choose to either give it to fear, or you can choose to give it to love, to creativity, to passion, to purpose, to meaning, to whatever's making your heart feel alive.
And that's the best takeaway for our talk. Please invite them to visit your website and follow you. I'm flashing the information. And please show us your latest baby, the Good Job Journal.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's auroramsuarez.com. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
sorry, this is
yeah,
mine.
It's okay. Yeah, it's auroramsuarez.com. So you guys, that's where you guys can find me. You can also find me on Instagram at Your Heart Crafted Life. So yeah, so thanks Mirza for
Right.
having
You
me
want
this
to show them
afternoon.
the Good Job Journal?
Yeah.
There
So
it
this
is.
is yeah. So this is something I created recently. It's called the Good Job Journal, and why I created this is really for you to get clarity about who you are, what matters to you, and what you value, so you can design your own meaningful career and take empowered action. So again, this can be little tweaks like have a conversation with my boss, those are the empowered actions you can take. Or it can really be, oh my gosh, I'm leaving that and I'm gonna find something that's more meaningful for me. So yeah, so it's lots of prompts, lots of questions, lots of really
It's like having
interesting
a coach
ways.
in a workbook.
Yeah, it's a coach and career counselor in. Yeah, so this one of my favorite questions. What does success mean? So
Wow.
like do a mind map. Like what does success mean to you? And again, this will give you clarity about a life you love. You can exchange that word success with love. What do I want? What do I love? So yeah, so I think so this is so you guys can get this at my website, or you can also find it on bit.ly/good job journal. Or you can just Google it, good job journal. It comes up right
Right.
there.
And
Yeah.
can they still buy the Sunday Night Journal?
They can, yeah. So the Sunday Night Journal is still available on my website, and my copies are, yeah, we're running really low on copies. So yeah, so now's the best time because I will not be reprinting those. I'll be starting work on the next volume in a few weeks or a couple of months. Yeah,
Wow. And maybe if they want to get you as a life and career coach, would you like to talk about it briefly? Give
yeah.
them an idea
So
of what happens when you
yeah,
become a coach.
yeah, so I think this is the perfect intro to my coaching. It's really I'm all about crafting a life you love. So yeah, you can find out. I work with women achievers, creatives, and leaders to figure out what you truly want, make purposeful changes, and take empowered and inspired action. And so a lot of my clients, yeah, first we get really clear on what you want and what you don't want, and then from there we move towards you know building your connection with yourself so that you understand, like, okay, this is really what I want, and from there really taking the steps to make the life you love a reality. And I've done that for so many amazing women who have changed jobs, left painful relationships. I'm not a relationship coach, guys, so and a heartbreak, but that has happened because they realized that was actually the thing that was holding them back, or found set up their dream creative businesses. And it's been such a joy and a ride to be able to do this for amazing women who inspire me.
Thank you so much, Aoi. And I'm
Thank you,
glad to see
Mirza.
you again after 1 year. It's always so much fun to chat with you and to learn so much from you. All
Yeah,
right.
thank you, Mirza. So thank you everyone
Bye.
as well for being here.
All right. Thank you.